All right, welcome back. This is a new series that we're starting. We don't even have a name for it yet, so don't even worry about that. But what we're going to do today, we're talking about I got stuck in an airport with somebody who brings in 200 to 250 leads a month from YouTube. I got stuck in an airport with him for like 4 hours, got to pick his brain, dive in. How did he build this business where he's selling? Last year, they did 487 houses in 2023. And almost all of his leads come from online sources, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, Google SEO. He's not paying for leads. He's just doing this mostly organically. He does a little bit of PPC, but he's not paying for big lead aggregators and things like that. So we're going to dive into, these are like the 3 or 4 things that I learned from him that if you want to build your brand on YouTube in order to pull in leads, let's copy this guy because he's doing a pretty dang good job of it, right?
This is what you do. That's it.
Yeah. And just, it's that old R&D rip off and duplicate. He's doing it right. Let's copy him. So we're talking about Ken Posac. So we've had him before. We've talked to him.
We have.
Right? Like we had him. It was earlier in 2023. Talked to him about his business. He got, we talked a lot more about how did he get started? What did he do to get going and build this thing? But that's where today we're going to break it down much more. No, now you go do this. If you want to do what he did, now you go do this. And one big takeaway I had from him, I didn't realize this until talking to him. He's actually been doing this. He's been in the industry 20 years. Right. Like all of a sudden we hear from him, we see him on stage at KW events. Jason Abrams just interviewed him on the Millionaire Real Estate podcast. And so it's like, we see him everywhere now. He has like 50,000 subscribers on YouTube, but he's that overnight success, 20 years in the making.
20 years in the making. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So there's a big lesson there of like, it takes time.
It takes time. It takes time to. I think in reflecting as we're getting ready for this today, I was thinking, it takes time both to figure out how to master your craft. That's part of what takes time, and then it takes time to build your audience, and you got to do both.
Yeah, and that's really what he's done. Is think of this as he's built an audience not just around going to YouTube to learn about real estate. It's going to YouTube or his newsletter or Instagram channel, all his different angles, because to learn about living in Orlando, right? So he took his business, he moved from Detroit, Michigan, he moved down to Orlando just because he liked it. That was his main reason, was because they were visiting, buying like a vacation home, and said, no, now we're just going to move here. We like it enough. Let's move.
What if we lived here?
Yeah. Picked up his business, went, and then had to restart his business. And how do you restart in a new market? You just start doing the thing you know. But what's crazy is he didn't really know it, right? And so he started with doing 100 videos in 100 days, I think it was.
100 and 100. Yep. That was the challenge.
And he recommends don't do that. He's like, it's way too much work. And point number, I think it's 3, is listing or your posting cadence. So stick around, because that one we'll talk exactly about his recommended. Now go do this. He's in Orlando, Florida. He runs the Posac group. He has his whole media company is called the Orlando Reel, right? So it's a newsletter, it's a website, it's everything about living in Orlando, not just moving to Orlando. That's a key difference that we'll talk about in a moment. And again, so they have 26 agents. So this isn't a one-man shop. This isn't a small organization, but 26 agents, 2 video staff members, 2 marketing staff members, an ISA, 2 TCs, and Ken. Okay. So good sized team. But again, he didn't do this overnight. Took a little bit of time.
Yeah.
All right. So diving in, let's say that there's 3 to 4 main points, kind of 3 and a bonus main point. So the biggest takeaway I had with him was document what you're doing. Don't just go creating things, right? So the big difference there, and this is a big Gary Vaynerchuk thing, right, is people want to go get creative, but there's a problem with being creative. It's difficult, right? Like being creative means I have to go put on a costume. I have to go learn a dance for TikTok. I have to write scripts. I have to memorize scripts. I have to get a high-end video editor. I have to do all these really complicated things, where he's built this. He has other friends that we've seen from different companies that have built similar things just by simply documenting what is going on with their clients and what's going on in their area. and that's it.
I would challenge, if you're watching this or listening to this, go with that idea in mind. Document, not create. Go back and rewatch, the feeds of the people that you follow, and
Mhm,
ask, did they create something original, like truly unique and original? Excuse me, or did they or did they just share information that I didn't have before in a creative way? I think
mhm,
that's the right, that you can think about documentation versus creation. As it's not that documentation is uncreative, it's just you're conveying information in a
mhm.
fun, clever, interesting way for me to
Well, and even if you're watching on video or if you're just listening, we'll kind of explain this. But when we pull up his YouTube channel here, it's just youtube.com/at Ken Posac. And as you go through it, you can see everything is about why Orlando. It's about owning a home in Orlando. It's about what's going on in the market. But I'll just kind of show on these previews here, although he has a very like creative background in his previews, this isn't, there are some where he actually goes out to the homes and they do a little bit more of that creation style, like on HGTV. But most of his videos, funny that last three are not, but most of
yeah.
his videos here, it's him sitting with a background that he's created just with art on the wall. It's him talking into a microphone. It'll cut away to some b-roll from time to time just to kind of keep some visual interest in what's going on, but it's
Mhm.
just him talking. And he said he doesn't write scripts. He's gotten good
Interesting.
enough now. He just
Interesting.
goes in, he puts notes on his iPhone, he sets it next to the camera, and he
Hmm.
just has his notes app open saying, what's the intro and the hook, what are three
Hmm.
or four main points, and what's my outro. Kind of
Interesting.
honestly similar to what you and I are doing right now.
Right
Right?
now,
It's real
exactly.
simple. I have my notes right next to the screen. It's not scripted. It's a natural conversation that he's
Yeah.
having with his viewers, and that's
Yeah.
very engaging to them.
So that was your first takeaway, was document, not
Mhm.
create. Yeah.
Yeah. And a kind of a sub piece of that is he's because he's documenting and not creating, he's not throwing in hooks every 30 seconds of like, call me to buy a house, help, I'll give you your home value, I'll help sell your home. He's almost never saying that. And that kind
Yeah.
of comes up in when we talk about the nitty gritty details. He puts some hooks down below, like in the comments and in the description. He will throw one at the end, but this is about just talking about what's going on because people want to learn that. They don't want to learn about him and his business yet. They just want to know
Yeah.
what's going on in Orlando.
What's going on? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Now
So, oh, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Oh, I was going to move on. So, if you have a good
Yeah,
one.
I was just going to say, so he is everywhere, but
Mhm.
it sounded like that wouldn't necessarily be the advice he would give, or the advice you
Yeah.
would give if somebody's just starting off trying to build their brand.
What an incredible
So
segue to the next thing I was going to say. How did you
very
know?
good.
So, point number two, so you're going to do two things. You need to pick both a niche and you need
Mhm,
to pick a platform.
mhm,
Right? So you could go to YouTube and Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook and all the different ones. And there are some benefits, like with Instagram, you can cross post to Facebook and things like that. It's a little bit different. But for the most part,
mhm,
it's you choose one platform and that's the one you want to go all in on. Right. So for his, it's YouTube because YouTube is longer form content. Right. So you're doing a little bit like with YouTube, it's a and especially or I mean with Instagram and especially TikTok, it's a very scroll based culture, right? It's
yeah,
entertain me clown, go to the next one. Entertain me clown, go to the next one. But again,
yeah,
he's on YouTube because that's where people go and search, right? You have Google is the number one search engine, YouTube is number two, and they're owned by
yeah,
Alphabet. They're both brother and sister of the same company. And so
mhm,
he chose YouTube first, and now he's starting to go build up his Instagram following, right? And you can
yeah.
kind of cross post and some things like that, but for the most part, he says choose one. Now,
Choose one.
when you
Yeah,
talk about a niche, though, then you need to choose. Once you have a platform, then you have to get into: are you looking for buyers or sellers? Or
yeah,
in one thing he brings up with some companies, it's like, are you looking to help buyers? Are you looking to help sellers? Are you helping agents? build their businesses, right? Because he kind of
Yeah.
saw that happening in one of the companies he was previously at, where the agents are getting very into like, oh, I'm using my platform to attract other agents to my team. And it's like, no, people come to your channel for a reason. They're buyers that are looking for
Mhm.
moving to type videos or videos about neighborhoods, right? Pros and
Mhm.
cons of living in Winter Park, pros and cons
Mhm.
of living in Crestview or whatever neighborhoods they have
Mhm.
there. But sellers are looking for news about the area and they want to see listings, right? The same reason we say at an open house, when a neighbor walks in, I'm just a nosy neighbor. It's like, let them be nosy
Yeah.
neighbors on YouTube too, right? Like a
Correct.
nosy
Yeah.
neighbor is interested in some reason about the houses around them, whether they're thinking about selling or they're thinking about not selling but upgrading their home. They want to see what else other people are doing. They have interest
Mhm.
in that area. And so whether
Mhm.
you kind of need to, it's better to pick an angle, buyers or sellers. Doesn't mean you can't do
Buyers or
some
sellers.
of this and some of that, but one main focus.
Yeah. So again, going back to this idea, if you want to build a brand online and you're going to do it with video, um, pick your platform and then pick your pick your intended audience. You
Mhm.
can continue to niche down, um, because it's going to take a while to get great at it and build the brand behind you. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can actually see this in his content and in his business. Was it started very much move to Orlando, move to Orlando, move to Orlando.
Hmm.
Who is that going to attract when we think about leads? If all my content is about moving to Orlando, is that going to attract buyers or sellers?
That sounds like a buyer focused message.
Yeah. Yeah. Because if I already live in Orlando, do I care about the pros and cons of living in Orlando?
Yeah.
Probably not,
Why?
unless I'm trying to decide to leave, in which case you still got a good thing going there as far as
Yeah.
a lead goes. But really it's the move to Orlando tag or rhetoric or marketing campaign is going to attract buyers. And most of his business has been buyers in the last several years. And they're
Mhm.
starting to shift that now by shifting the content. So again, if we go back to showing what his current content is, you have uh we're featuring, this one's featuring a luxury neighborhood. He has a video about owning an Orlando Airbnb. That could be buyer
Mhm.
or potential seller, or let's
Mhm.
say instead of seller, homeowner in Orlando. They
Homeowner.
may want to
Yeah.
buy an additional home in Orlando for Airbnb purposes. Best suburb of Orlando, that's going to be buyer oriented. But this one that Johnny Damon lists $30 million Orlando home, that's
Mhm.
going to actually be more interesting, one, to general public, but two, more so to homeowners
To
than
homeowners.
buyers, right?
Yeah.
So you can see he starts shifting his campaign style, and then all of a sudden his business will start shifting, and he started getting some big listing opportunities from developers and things like that. So his percentage of buyers to sellers will begin to shift, or continue shifting rather, to the more balanced 50-50 that a lot of top agents see in their business.
Yeah. So the why move and where to move, those are buyer focused messages. Once you're here, neighborhood, community, news, what the information that's valuable to a homeowner, those are seller focused messages. So again, brand building is about clarity and consistency with your marketing and your activity. Who are you going after? Understand that the message you put out there will be attractive to different parts of your audience in different ways.
And then you're going to have some kind of down the middle, right? If he goes,
Mhm.
and I've seen some of their posts before about, this new taco place in Orlando. Well, that's going to
Mhm.
actually serve both sides, right?
Yeah.
Both buyer, seller, visitor, think just much more general public. So if I'm
Yep.
visiting Orlando, because many people visit there to go to all the theme parks to get
Mhm.
just out of the cold weather of the rest of the country right now, right?
Yep.
That they can find that useful just by traveling there. So you're actually hitting like 5 audiences with one piece of content.
With one piece of
So,
content. Yeah.
right. So then, okay, so now we know who we're going to target. We know what platform
Yep.
we're going to post on. How often do
Okay.
we post? That's the next
Ah,
point.
I
So
hear that all the time from the clients that I coach is all right, I think I've got an idea, but my gosh, is this 20 times a day, once a
mhm.
month? How do I make this
And
work? What did you learn from Ken?
I would even say my own personal thought goes to I need to be putting out more content, more content.
Yeah.
Probably, if I had to guess before talking, I would say at least 3 pieces of YouTube content a week in my
Yeah.
mind, because it's like, otherwise, how am I going to build this library of content
Yeah.
that when people go search, I'm in Santa Cruz, when people go search homes in Santa Cruz, they're going to find me if I'm only putting out one video a week. Well, it turns out that's his highly, highly recommended suggestion is
Yeah.
one video a week forever. Like, commit to
If
doing
you're
one
using
video a
YouTube,
week
I
forever.
think,
For
yeah,
YouTube,
yeah,
yeah,
for YouTube.
specifically for
Yeah.
YouTube. It's different for
Yeah.
Instagram, but we'll talk about
Yeah.
YouTube first. One video a week forever,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And kind of on the next section, we get into the nitty-gritty details, but I'll jump ahead for a second. One other thing he talks about is doing a video that's at least 8 minutes in length. And this changes from time to time, but essentially what it is once you're crossing 8 minutes, YouTube
Mhm.
can put an in-stream video ad in, meaning that your video will get interrupted with an ad for somebody that doesn't have like YouTube Premium. But YouTube needs advertisers, ads out in front of the public. So if I'm creating a video long enough that they can put another ad in, they're going to push it out further,
They push it
right?
out further.
So it's more useful to YouTube. So the
Yeah.
more we help YouTube, the more YouTube helps us getting
Got it.
videos with tons of views, right?
Yeah.
So, but the idea is one video a week. And again, staying out of the like full creation side of things, it's still create one quality video every week, over 8 minutes long. Think well edited. So it's not just mindless rambling or something like that. But if you put the time in to do just one video a week and you do that consistently over 52 weeks, 104 weeks,
Mhm.
indefinitely, he said that's where they saw a lot of engagement. He didn't
Interesting.
move to 2 videos a week until he recommended, I think this was actually on the podcast. He didn't say this directly to me. He recommended like until you're getting like 8+ leads a month before going to that 2 a week cadence.
Got
Right.
it.
So he does one static video or one like a pre-recorded video on Tuesdays. And now
Mhm.
he added a live stream on Thursdays where he just
Mhm.
jumps on, it's StreamYard, right? Like he just jumps on
Mhm.
StreamYard, hits go, and he kind of think of like a live news show where you can then comment in. He gets a lot of comments. I listened to his last one. He has a lot of people engaging with him, but it's
Mhm.
like that was his second video. Now, when he moved to 3 videos as a test, they actually saw, in a way, a decrease of views because they had
Okay.
the same
Mhm.
number of views across 3 videos that they would with two. So it's kind of
Got it.
like a cannibalization. They're eating views
Yeah.
out of their videos just because of the way this is an algorithm,
Yeah.
right? And so
Yeah.
now you're having to create 3 pieces of content to get the same number of views as if you did two. And what's all that matters is views and engagement. Like less work, same effort,
Less
or
work.
or, or
Exactly.
less effort, same result. Sounds good to me.
Exactly.
There's
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
time to play
Exactly.
Halo, buddy. So
And more time to get the content that you're putting out there
yeah,
right. Yeah.
to get it right. So essentially, that's actually a great point. Better to have 2 quality pieces of content than 3 mediocre, or one
Mediocre.
quality versus 2 or 3,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
again, so that's YouTube. Now on Instagram, and again, this is going to be very more YouTube focused, but on Instagram,
Mhm.
he said daily
Mhm.
posting, and it's going to be a mix of video and reels, one image post, carousel image posts. It's just that one is where you're just posting constantly because the attention span on something like Instagram is much shorter. Your
Yeah.
post does, you go put on even a reel, it has a big push at first and then it just dies off. Where with
Yeah.
YouTube videos, you can actually see it. You get this big jump at first, then it levels off, but then it kind of just goes steady up over time because it's
Yeah.
a searchable platform.
Yeah.
Whereas Instagram and especially TikTok are about virality, and that's it. When you're scrolling through your feed on Instagram, it's very rare that you're seeing something more than 4 or 5 days old.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's the
So
comet, right? It burns brightly for a moment and it attracts
yeah,
everybody's attention, but then it's gone and we're looking for the next one. So as we were getting ready for this conversation today, and I was thinking about that, one of the other things to really ask yourself, again, if your goal is to build your brand and generate leads from online video content, ask yourself, what is the best rhythm based on your own personality? If you're
yeah,
not willing to do that stuff, if you don't want to, you know, like if you don't enjoy that burn brightly for a moment and then you're gone, you got to come up with the next thing. That feeling,
yeah,
Instagram is not your platform, no matter how many people are out there.
yeah.
May not be your
Yeah.
platform, no matter how many people are out
And
there.
where are your people?
And where
Right?
are your
Like
people?
my
Yeah.
my business partner, he has a lot of engagement with LinkedIn, right?
Hmm.
And so even though this isn't about LinkedIn, that's actually a great strategy that'll work for us, whereas Instagram's kind of hit or miss, right?
Yeah.
But no matter what, my main thing is we're focusing on YouTube because of the searchability,
Yeah.
SEO, Google search. We just want to be able to get found. So that's where we're going to put the 80% effort is into
Yeah.
that platform.
Yeah.
All right. So now let's go into the straight up nitty gritty. So we came up with who our target audience is. We know what platform we're on. We know how
Mhm.
often we're going to post. So,
Mhm.
like, let's say we already went out, we created the content because we know based off of our target audience, we know what content to create. So we recorded that video. Great. Now we get into these real little details that he talked about, and I'm going to pull the screen up again here.
And if you're listening to this and not watching, we're on Ken's YouTube
Yeah.
channel, just the main landing page. So as you're listening to this, you
And
might navigate
and
over there
like listen right now and then jump over eventually and come watch us on video. We're
and
way
come
more
watch it. Yeah.
so okay, so as we go through this and we say, all right, number one, let's talk about length. We already did that. Over 8 minutes is great.
Mhm.
Also, I personally would say I wouldn't hyper worry about that one yet. I would just say over 8 minutes is great
Yeah.
for the reason we said about being able to insert more ads into it, but make what you make, right? Like
Mhm.
just get it done. And I think a lot of people will be surprised too, especially if you're editing. You might go record 12 minutes of content, and as soon as you cut out, oh, I messed up that clip and I did this, I did that, all of a sudden you're down to 4 minutes, right? Is what it feels like. And so
I, I
don't worry.
love that you, yeah, I love that you mentioned that, Jason, because again, that's another thing that I hear and something that I know when I was doing TV. I mean, I did 3 seasons of the show, and
Oh,
it
that's a great
always it amazed folks that we would film all day all day. We'd have, an 8, 10, 12 hour shooting day for literally 22 minutes of content in a 30-minute network show because there were 8 minutes of commercials, right? So you say, well, okay, we're filming a 30-minute show. We're not even filming a 30-minute show. We're filming a 22-minute show,
yeah.
but it takes us
Yeah,
8 hours of content to get there. So go film, but your final cut might be 5 to 10 minutes long. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I totally forgot. I'm talking to a TV star. Come
Not a star, but
on. Not a comment. It was
okay,
real
exactly.
bright for
Yeah.
a minute.
It was real fun. I was a TV comment. Yeah, that's right. Not a star. Stars burn brightly and they last. No, it's a TV comment. Yeah.
Well, there you go. All right. So number one, let's talk about thumbnails. So thumbnails, and this is something that like it's one of those things that I know, I've heard, but it really sank in talking to him. Thumbnails are the thing that's going to get somebody to click on your video. It's
Yeah.
not the title. Like, don't worry about the title of the video. That will help it get searched, and we'll talk about that one in a minute. But it's really the thumbnail. And if I had to tell you, guess how many people are using their phone versus using desktop to find videos on YouTube, what do you think the percentage would be of people on mobile versus people on desktop?
On desktop, I'm going to say 3 out of 4, 75% are on mobile.
Well, you're smarter than me, so good job. I would have thought and it's funny because in the logical side of my brain goes to they're longer videos. I don't want to watch. I mean, I will watch an hour long video on YouTube, right? Like kind of often.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to watch that on my phone. Like, why would I want to watch an hour? This is a longer form content. Why would I want to watch that on my phone? Well, the statistics actually show it's about 75%. 75%
Interesting.
of
Okay.
people are on mobile versus desktop. And then I thought about it. So my logic brain says that's silly. I thought about it.
Yeah.
I just told you I watch hour-long stuff on my phone all the time, or I mean, on YouTube all the time. Yeah, I watch it on my
Yeah.
phone. So
Watch it
here
on
I
your
am
phone.
like, "Oh, why would they do that?" And I'm the guy that watches it on my phone all the time. Sometimes I watch it on
See,
desktop, but
and I said that because I had this realization. I'm going to go down a cul-de-sac here for 30 seconds. I had this realization with my kids the other day, 11 and
mhm,
14. And I sat up, I was doing dishes or something, whatever. And I sat up, and we've got a reasonable size screen TV in the living room. And, and, and everybody, my kids, my wife, were all on tiny screens. And it just struck me that even though we have access to this giant resource, a big screen, that would be a way more comfortable way to watch a video, to watch a piece of content. Everybody was doing it on a tiny screen. I just thought that was curious.
the word you just used was perfect, tiny, right? So
Yeah.
when we're looking at this on a desktop on the screen right now, I can read these titles just fine. Owning Orlando Airbnb, Orlando sales fall, blah, blah, blah. But when it's on a tiny little screen and you get way too complicated, the people
Mhm.
can't even tell what's going on in the little thumbnail. They scroll right past it to one that they can see, right? So if they're
Yeah.
searching, so I did a kind of little test in our own market. I looked, Santa Cruz real estate, and even some of the people who I think make some of the best content in our area, the thumbnails, because of the fonts they use and things like that, it was so difficult to see on a screen this big. And it was real
Interesting.
interesting going from what was on the desktop to then comparing to it what's on the phone. And
Yeah.
so what Ken recommends is you have three elements on a thumbnail. You have your face, and we'll talk about that in a second. You have your face or a face. You have a
Aphids.
title, and then one more element. So, like when we're looking at these on the screen, he has this one. It has his face, one of the agents on his team's face, a picture of the house, and the title across the top of the subdivision. Most of
Yeah.
these, it's here's a title, here's a face, here's a map, title, face, picture of Amazon's warehouse, right? And he
Yeah.
does have some examples here where there's no title. And when you look at the difference in views, we're talking about thousands. Most of his
Yeah.
videos get 10,000, 8, 9, 10,000 views each, and the ones that don't have faces or don't have titles are like 2 to 3,000. And
Yeah.
why do you think that is? There's one here with a picture of his face, a rocket ship, the Universal logo, and the little like I voted stickers. It's like it
Hmm.
doesn't tell you any. I have no idea what that video is about without reading the
Correct.
title. People aren't reading the titles.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
when they're
I'm
clicking on the video, they're clicking because of the thumbnail.
Yeah. And again, I'm just going to go back to why we launched this recording today. This is about building a brand to help you
Mhm.
generate leads online, on
Yeah.
YouTube, specifically on YouTube primarily, right? So you might film content that's appealing to you, but remember what the motivator behind this was to help you grow and build your lead pool,
Mhm.
which means we need to do the things that are going to be more attractive to the leads
Mhm.
you're going after, not just what you want to do. You might like it. I know I like a different look. I have this
Yeah.
reaction. I don't want my thumbnails to look like everybody else's. And recently I've caught myself saying, wait a minute, no, I actually do want my thumbnails to look like everybody
Yeah.
else's because apparently they work. Right.
I
That's
don't want them to look like everybody else's. I want them to look
yeah.
like the people who are successful,
Who
right?
are
This is
successful.
taking a
That's it.
model and
Yes.
stealing, rip off and duplicate R&D.
Rip off
I
and
want to
duplicate.
do what
Yes.
they're doing. And so here's a perfect example. Ken
Yeah.
hired a coach, a big name coach in the YouTube world, got to sit there and
Mhm.
talk to him for like 3 hours straight. And
Mhm.
he got all this intel and data about what they see out. So Ken's running about 50,000 subscribers, and the person he was talking with, they have millions. They're in the millions.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
at that level, they see data that basically shows in your thumbnails. So I said use a face. We've known that for quite some time that people connect with faces and they're going to
Mhm.
click if there's a face in it. It's getting down to the nitty gritty to say if the whites of your eyes are showing in that photo, there's a more personal connection through the screen and they're more likely to click. Bizarre,
Interesting.
whatever. Humans are a funny bunch. That's okay. I'm not
Yeah.
saying go white in all your eyes in the thumbnails, but when possible, And think
Yeah.
about some of the highly successful people like Mr. Beast or some of the other
Mhm.
big channels we see. I mean, at Mr. Beast level, where they're in the billions of views at this point, they're actually going back and changing the thumbnails to enlarge his eyes so they
Mhm.
get more white space. And Ken
Mhm.
wears glasses, so I don't know how he's going to do it, but
Mhm.
I guarantee he's working on it because that's how his brain goes. All right,
Yeah.
so the photo's going to get you to click, but the titles or the thumbnail rather, then the titles, what they're doing, because like I said, I just described this one of the rocket ship and Universal logo. I have no idea what the video is about because it's too small on my screen right now. The
Mhm.
title right below it says Orlando doesn't like to vote. So maybe that one's a bad example, and I did that on the fly. But when you look at some of the others that are like tips on owning a second home in Orlando, if
Mhm.
somebody goes to Google and types in owning or buy a Airbnb in Orlando, buy a second home in Orlando, things like that, Google's smart enough to push something like tips on owning a second home in Orlando to that person's search, right? So
Yeah.
the titles don't necessarily have to be exactly the phrase that somebody is going to search for, but think in that term. What is it that people are searching for? What are you answering in this video? Not necessarily what the video is about per se, but like what problem are you solving in this video, or what content are you providing to them to help Google understand when to push this video in the search results.
Got it. And specifically, that's the title you give to the video itself. We're not talking about the title and the thumbnail, right? Just
Right. The title, the
yeah.
thumbnail, you're thinking 3 words, like
Got it.
three buyer mistakes, owning an
Yep.
Orlando Airbnb, right? Like what's the real catchy thing? I'm talking about that title right below where it actually has you. And one actual point I forgot to say was 55 characters, give or take, is the recommendation right now. If you keep it below 55 characters, your entire title fits on a mobile device, right? But
Got
once
it.
you go these really long titles, like he has the one on here, Johnny Damon lists $30 million Orlando home new, and it's then like 3 headlines.
Yeah.
That's going to run off the screen in terms of mobile search. But the big one there, the main part, Johnny Damon lists $30 million home. I like looking at $30 million homes. I'm not going to lie. I clicked that video and I
Everybody
watched it.
does. Yep.
But
Yep.
yeah, we're talking about the little title below because that's the searchability.
Okay.
The
Okay.
the next one was interesting because this goes into the description and the comments, right? So we're talking about all the different things you can kind of add into your video. Hashtags on YouTube, basically gone. Don't worry about it. Even YouTube, when you go to add hashtags, it tells you this does nothing. It's
Gotcha.
kind of more about if you are like maybe in like a ambiguous category or something, you can use the
Mhm.
hashtag to show YouTube, no, I'm this category, not this one, but they're not important. And so for a long time, we always said descriptions were where you kind of load all your keywords in, right? Like I just
Mhm.
want to fill it with keywords and links and all these other things. But that's kind of changed a little. And again, going back to the person that Ken coached with, showed him, well, we have the data now to show where are people actually clicking, and they're not
Mhm.
going into the description, because the description, if it's 500 or 1,000 characters long, it's only showing the first 2 lines of text, and then you have to click more. So like if I
Yep.
go to let me show on the screen, I'll show a quick example, but basically try to explain this. When I scroll down here to the description, I don't have, I only have these 2 lines of text here, 2, maybe 3 lines. Then I have to click more. So if
Mhm.
I bury all my links, like my, hey, click here for your home valuation link in the description, they're never seeing it, because what people are doing are they're jumping straight from the video right past the description into the comments if they're scrolling
Yeah.
at all, because I want to go see what are people saying about this. So
Mhm.
what you can do now, this is a newer feature, it's been around for a while, but a newer feature, but a new strategy is you write your own comment on your video, put your link to
Mhm.
your call to action link in there, and then you pin it. So you can pin anybody's comment. If somebody leaves you like a raving review, you could pin that comment if you want. So when
Mhm.
someone scrolls down, they see the top comment. However,
Mhm.
what he does is he puts this link in here, pins that top comment, and you can tell this link here is if you're thinking about buying or selling a home in Orlando, guess what? That's his call to action. So in the
That's the
video
CTA.
itself, he gives very little hook, right? But here's his hook. He said, you can see this says edited 3 weeks ago. As soon as he started doing this, they saw an instant uptick in the people clicking this link. Right. So that's going
Got
to
it.
be an instant return on investment from his time spent with that coach just by this one tip alone. He said that was probably the biggest thing he's learned recently about how to improve his results from his channel.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah. So, and again, just super easy, go do this kind of thing. Right. And so, I mean, if you think about what we just covered, and I have one last kind of bonus point after this, but if you think about what we just covered, we just told you who to go talk to, what platform, or I didn't tell you who, but I told you to choose one. Told you
Choose
what
one.
platform to go post it on or choose one. Told
Mhm.
you exactly when to post. Told you
Mhm.
once you post it, how to update it. Oh, we can make a note about Instagram real quick. A lot of those nitty gritty details where we say the thumbnails, the titles, the descriptions doesn't super matter on Instagram. It's
Yeah.
Instagram, you can do thumbnails for the reels, but they're only there for a fraction of a second. They're not even, it's not really one where people are going and clicking on the thumbnails of the reels sometimes, but it's not as important. The titles very little matter. You could do the link in
Yeah.
bio, to send people, because you can't put links anywhere except for in your bio.
Anywhere else.
So a lot of that doesn't apply. Instagram's just
Yeah.
its own thing. You just go in there, post all the time, do the once a day
Yeah.
forever
Do the once a
plan.
day. Yeah. Once a day forever. Yeah.
But so we've kind of covered all these things. So now it literally just comes down to action. And so that's what
Mhm.
I'll call the last bonus point, right? Is
Mhm.
the action side of it is just go out and do it today. What's a
Yeah.
news story? Santa Cruz just made a list of like the top metro areas or top cities that are supposed to grow over the next year, right?
Mhm.
So guess what video I need to go make? I need to go
Yeah.
make. We just made this list, which is wild because agents here are feeling like that's not necessarily the case, but we made a
Yeah.
headline. I want to go document it. Right.
Yeah.
And
Good.
then I might then schedule a video for next week that will be about restaurants. I know of 10 new restaurants coming to town. Let's talk about it. Right. But
Let's
it's
talk about it.
just go start recording.
Yeah. And and you can do. I mean, the other thing that we didn't talk about this, but I know that folks like Ken do it. I know that I do it in my own business. Is if you're struggling with even the idea of a one a week rhythm, I would absolutely encourage you to think about batch production as well.
Mhm.
Right? Take
Yeah.
an hour, come up with 2, 5, 7, 10 topics. Take a day, go film all of them, and then
Mhm.
release one a week.
Yeah.
If that's an easier way to do it, consistency being so important. We sometimes we feel like it has to be topical, like the look at the list we just made. Well, if it's good, it doesn't have to be
Mhm.
like current to the week. It's good to have
Right.
a mix, but the
Yeah.
key the main
And
thing
then
is the consistency. Yeah.
you might do one that is like, okay, this is so topical, this is so important. California just released, they're redoing a first time buyer program where, I
Hmm.
mean, they were given a good chunk of money to this thing. It's like a grant. Yeah, okay. If
Hmm.
I already had a month of content scheduled out, guess what? One of those is getting pushed back, or that'll be
We're
the
doing the
one
second.
time I do two that week. Breaking news, special
Yeah.
edition. This is the thing you
Yeah.
need to know. Like, I'll jump in with that. And I'm not going to do that every week. At least then, when you're doing that batch, then you have the content already made that you could slip something back if something better came along. And then you're batch
Absolutely.
scheduled, right? And then you get sick or you have a terrible day or you go on vacation or whatever, and you just don't want to
Yeah.
record, you have it batched.
Right. Yeah.
Technologically, he said just use your phone. Phones now are good enough. Don't
Hmm.
let the technology stop you from doing it, right? And that
Yeah.
really goes along that line of document, don't create. Now, we
Yeah.
showed in his video, he has the studio and things like that. 20 years. He's been doing this for 20 years. You can go
Yeah.
back and actually, I'll show this real quick just for fun. You can go back and you can see, let's see how we do this. You click on videos. So you go to his channel,
Mhm.
and right here, there's a button right there. Click on oldest. All of a sudden, you can go
Yeah.
all the way back to how many years? 6 years is when that first video,
Mm.
when he started doing these 100 videos. And see how this one starts at 2 of 3. I want to know, Ken, where's number one? Did
Where's
you
number
delete it?
one?
Like, I wanna know where it is. But so we click on this video and look what it is. It's him with a phone. Oh, my internet though is not having a good day. Oh, here we go. It's him with a home walking through a home. Him
Yeah,
with a phone. Can't talk.
walking
Him
through a
with a
home.
phone walking through a home. This is all it is. And he's you don't hear the audio, but he's narrating it. And it's just him like going
Mhm.
walking through this house talking about it. Guess what? It works. Go do that today. At least then you've done the thing that's then going to create the momentum. That's from Atomic
Exactly.
Habits. That's from
Mhm.
all sorts of different Stoics. Like I will go get you all the evidence in the world that you want that says go do the one thing and then you'll do the next thing, you'll do the next thing. But
Yeah.
your phone
Yeah.
is going to work just fine. And don't wait to get it perfect. It said, don't wait to get perfect, get started to get perfect. Right.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
before COVID, I hated being on video. Hated being on video. Then we got
Mhm.
forced into video, and now I mean, I'm not Ken Posac natural, but I'm getting pretty good at it.
Getting pretty good. I'd say you're pretty good. Yeah. So identify your target
Yep.
audience. You know what?
Mhm,
Again, we're brand building for leads. What type of leads do you want? We're targeting seller leads. We're targeting buyer leads. Adjust
mhm,
your message to the leads you want to target. Pick your platform.
mhm.
Understand the nuances of that platform,
Yep.
and then do it. And if you're on
That
YouTube, which is probably, I'm curious. I didn't ask you this question before,
mhm.
but where would you, based on your conversation with Ken, where would you suggest someone start? Which platform?
YouTube, because it's once a
YouTube.
week.
Yeah.
You only gotta make
Yeah.
one piece of content a week, where, like, I've already been saying, like, "We're gonna do both," and guess what?
Yeah.
I'm working on both right now. I'm not doing either really well at all, right?
Yeah.
And
I
so
think
it's
that's
like,
great advice.
I feel like
Yeah.
YouTube is once a week, and all you're doing is, start writing down if you're having a hard time coming up with content, anytime you talk to a buyer or a seller or a friend and they ask a question about real estate, write it down. Right. And so I
Good
just
idea.
started writing down whenever they ask a question, I write it down because I'm documenting. And guess what? If you're
Yeah.
a brand new agent, you are brand new, and you're like, I don't even have closings to highlight or whatever, don't
Mhm.
care. You do have
Yeah.
clients. Whether or not
Yeah.
they are paying you yet, you have a client. So when you're meeting with a friend and they're like, I just don't even think I could ever afford, I don't have 20% down. 10 reasons why you don't need 20% down. Maybe there's not 10,
There you
but
go. Yeah.
myth, buyer myth
Myth.
dispelled, whatever. Right.
Yeah.
And so you
Yeah.
can just start making videos about that, of answer questions, the top 3 questions I get from buyers.
Yeah.
Slav,
Yeah.
when we talked with Slav before about Instagram,
Mhm.
he had a
Mhm.
really good little formula, which was, oh man, I shouldn't have put myself on the spot with this one. I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember his formula for, um, but it was the one where he was essentially like, you can afford $1 million or buy $1 million house for just
Oh,
$5,000 or whatever it was. So
yeah.
it's like big claim, make it easy, click to
Make it
learn
easy.
more. Right. And
Yeah.
so it's like this formula, you can do the same thing. Top 3 reasons of this. The
Yeah.
three mistakes. YouTube, social media in general, they love negativity. So
Mhm.
I've some of the channels that I use as examples, they dive into negative. They just
Yeah.
say, "Hey, the 3 reasons why the housing market could crash this year."
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's
Yeah.
not probably not gonna. However, here's the reasons why. The best example, though, and we can wrap up with this. The best example I have of anybody ever is his name is Jason Walter. He's in, you know what? I can try to pull it up. No, I'm not gonna try. Go look it up on your own. Jason Walter on
Mhm.
YouTube. He is an agent in Sacramento. He posts
Mhm.
3 videos a week. All it
Mhm.
is him reading the news. He
Reading the
has
news. Mhm.
he has a handful of news sources. I grabbed them all and now I follow them all. Right? He
Mhm.
has a handful of news sources that when they publish something, he then makes a video about that. He doesn't give opinion into it, but he does help break it down. Hey,
Yeah.
Zillow came out with this new report that said prices are going to go up 6% in 2024. There's
Mhm.
your hook. He pulls up on the screen, he records it in his kitchen. Like when you want
Mhm.
to talk about document, don't create, he records it in his kitchen. He I'm pretty sure he sends it to a VA, but he may not even do that because he does it so simply. Pulls up the
Mhm.
screen. He has a few things highlighted in the article, and then he says, well, this is why this is important. This is why this is important. He records
Mhm.
it's about 15-minute long videos, unscripted, barely even chopped up at all. and
Mhm.
he does that 3 times a week. He's pushing 100,000 subscribers right
Yeah.
now, and he's been doing
Yeah.
it several years, but not that many. I think just before COVID it started, or maybe even right at COVID. And he
Yeah.
has 100,000 subscribers. You go read his comments, and it is filled with comments about when I bought a house with Jason, or hey, I need to talk to you, Jason, or like you can tell
Yeah.
it's real people. It's not just like,
Yeah.
click here for free Bitcoin. It's not those comments.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so all he does is document, 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 document. He does
Document,
3 days
document.
a week. It works for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
The end.
Document, not create.
So
Yeah.
here's your homework. Go make a video right now. And I don't even care if you don't post it anywhere. At least go make the video and you'll feel better.
Yep.
But the second thing is, if you're still listening, you have to subscribe. That's the rules. You have to
That's the rules.
subscribe and follow us, because we're going to be doing this every week. Because guess what? One piece of content a week. That's it. That's what we're
For life.
working on. We're following the model for life. And if you are looking to build a bigger, better business, and you want somebody to hold your hand and help you out, or just be a friend in your business, reach out to us. We've got training, coaching, resources, all sorts of stuff.
We're here to help. Good to be
There's
with you
your
as always.
19 calls to action.
That's right. 19 calls to action. Exactly. Film one. Just start. Film one. We promise. It'll help.
All right. So until next week, when you will see us next week with some other new piece of content that we're going to go record probably right now, I'm Jason Flynn,
I'm Philip Aldifer.
and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, everybody. See you. Bye.